Welcome to Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. We opened in 1998 after breaking ground in 1997. It was a partnership between the Expos and the Braves. And they had a stadium down in West Palm Beach. You may remember the Leaky Tiki. And they transitioned up to Jupiter just for a new area and new facility as well. So then it started with Braves and Expos, and then it transitioned to the Cardinals, took over for the Braves, and then obviously the Expos kind of dissolved into what's now the Nationals. So they transitioned out as well, which brought in the Miami Marlins, previously the Florida Marlins. So now we operate for the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals, and we have the two teams here during spring training, and then we have their summer teams here for the Florida State League. So it's the Jupiter Hammerheads and Palm Beach Cardinals, which are the Class A affiliate for the teams, and then also their Gulf Coast League team. So a whole lot of baseball. The complex is 110 square acres. It's got 6 fields for the Miami Marlins and 6 for the Cardinals, and those are full-size fields. And then each team also has 2 half fields as well as multiple batting cages, just like workout rooms, different facilities, particularly for their development purposes on our backfields. We also operate obviously as like the rehab location for teams. So obviously when players are injured throughout the season, a lot of times they'll come here. One, the weather is usually really nice for them. They don't have to worry about the northern states or anything like that. But yeah, we got a whole lot of baseball going on. We usually average about 170 games per year. And spring training is probably one of the busiest times of the year, especially for this community. Abacoa was kind of built around the stadium, and I think one of the reasons they really brought it to this area was for that reason, and it was to bring a revitalization to it. This actually used to be a strawberry patch before the stadium was built. So it was this and then Abacoa Golf Club that were built, and then the idea was to build the community developments for housing around it, and then downtown Abacoa with the shops and the restaurants. So it's kind of your one-stop shop for everything. So you can come to a game, you can go out to dinner, you can go to the little boutiques and things like that. So I think everyone has really responded to that, and it's a really cool area, and it's still developing. That's the coolest part too. Like, we just added Lighthouse Cove, the little mini golf place down the road. There's constantly different shops and restaurants and like breweries going in across the street. So it's not just for the baseball, it's kind of, like I said, the whole package for everyone, which is really cool. This is one of our suites. We have 6 luxury suites on the 2nd level of our stadium. So each one of our teams has one that they can use during their games, which is pretty cool, but we can also sell them to the fans. So it's a pretty cool atmosphere here. There's indoor-outdoor seating. So this is an air-conditioned unit, but it also has, each one has about 13 seats outside. During the heat of the summer, you can watch from the air conditioning, but during the colder days, kind of like today, you can stay inside and still have a really good view of our ballpark. This is actually the media's area here of our ballpark. So obviously we've installed plexiglass working spaces and things in conjunction for all of the safety and health protocols for guys. But this is where, you know, our media, as far as like the team communications, personnel are here, our official score sits here, and then it's any of the media that come and write about spring training. And you know, we have, right now with the plexiglass, we have about 21 spaces, but we've obviously, that's in limiting the number of people up here. Traditionally, we've had anywhere from like 30 to 40, depending on how big. Obviously, like there's some bigger matchups that really draw people. We say our capacity is about 8,000. So as far as these green back seats right here, we have about 6,800 of them, and then about another 300 in our bleachers. And then our capacity pool zone, which is the covered picnic area over there, can hold upwards of 350 people as well. And then you have the suites upstairs. So like I said, the physical seats is about 6,800, and then overall ballpark capacity, especially with standing room, is about 8,000. And we're fortunate in that most games will get to about 8,000, particularly for the Cardinals. And then obviously the Marlins have gone through some transition in the previous years as far as just rebuilding the franchise and different things like that, that their crowds tend to be a little bit smaller, but there's a lot of excitement around them. I mean, they just qualified for the playoffs for the first time in 17 years last year, so we're hyped. So and we'll have limited capacity this year just due to health and safety restrictions and being able to socially distance people, but Hopefully in 22 we will return to those 8,000 fans in the ballpark for the games, because that's when it's really fun. And it's 24/7, like 7 days a week, pretty much the entire year, to keep it maintained, especially with the number of games that are played on this main field. It's probably, we jokingly call ourselves the busiest ballpark in America, but it is kind of true with the number of teams we have here. So, I mean, they do amazing work, from just raking the fields and, like I said, mowing and keeping it looking as green as it does. Honestly, I don't know how they do it, but they do an amazing job. So they have about 20 full-time guys that are here, and that's, Monday through Friday. And they get here most days by like 6:30, 7 a.m. and they're here just as long as a traditional work day, if not longer, especially leading up to spring training. And while the ballpark itself is 20 plus years old, it is still new enough that you really don't, you wouldn't know it's 20 plus years unless you really have been here through the history of it, because it doesn't look that. And we're continually updating it to keep the teams here. They want to be able, obviously there's so much new technology that goes into it. It's one of the reasons we originally looked at, the big renovation, is adding some of those new technologies and just really updating the facility to the new century. But it just, when the Expos kind of moved away, the Marlins became the new Florida home team, so it was it presented a really good opportunity. I mean, they played in Miami, so this was only an hour or so away. It was a close proximity, so I think it depends on the team, but like I said, a lot of it has to do with the facility itself, and then the warm weather certainly helped draw people to this area, because we don't have to worry about snow or anything like that. But those are kind of all reasons, and it just kind of varies from team to team. A couple of years ago, Ballpark of the Palm Beaches opened its doors, and they're only about 15-20 minutes from us, and they're also a two-team facility. They have the Astros and Nationals, and it was a cool thing. A lot of people ask us how we felt about it, and we think it's a positive. One, it draws a lot more baseball fans to this area, but two, travel is such an issue during spring training. These guys are here starting sometimes as early as 6 a.m. in the morning, and they have practices before the games, and then they go play the games. And adding in those hour and to 3 hour trips, it ends up being a really long day, and some of them actually require overnight games. So bringing two more teams to this area within close proximity was a really awesome, just for their scheduling purposes. The teams really enjoy it. It's a super easy commute down and then really easy back. But again, it brought so many more fans to this area too. So both stadiums really consider it a win. Our team's fans travel really well to Ballpark. Their teams travel really well to us. It's a win-win in our book. So obviously we host spring training in the Florida State League. It's going to be a little bit different this year, but we do plan to have roughly 30 games for spring training, and then our minor league season as well. If fans are interested in coming to the ballpark, we'll have tickets available through our website. We also have a partnership with tickets.com, so feel free to look us up there and come out and join us for a game. We'd love to have you.